the clay. It's Sculpting, and it's a polymer clay, which means that it is the type of clay that you can cook in a conventional oven or a toaster oven. We're going to be using a toaster oven. A couple things you need to know about this clay. You need to wash your hands after you use it. I know that's really difficult with our sink being in the condition it's in right now. Hopefully we'll get that fixed as soon as possible. But you do need to wash your hands every single time. You only need about this much clay. You really don't need a huge amount because you're only making a pretty small figure. When you get your clay, it's going to be like a little ball like this, and you need to kind of manipulate it and squish it a little bit to get it to move. We are not going to be using a wire armature on this particular project because it's small enough not to need it. But you do need to do some special things to get your clay figure to stay together. So let's go ahead and move over to our little figure that we drew earlier. So what I'm going to start doing first is I'm just going to start with the head. It looks like it's way too much for the head, so I'm just going to a little bit smaller than that. It's going to be a little difficult because of space, but to make a ball, just kind of roll it like that in your hands. Seems like it's a little bit big still. I'm going to make it a little smaller. Just going to pinch a little bit off of that. Roll it again. My goal for this year is to get a nice rig for the iPad so I can do better videos for you guys. So I've got the beginnings of a head right there. I'm just going to construct it straight on my little figure I have drawn here. Let's go ahead and make him a little neck. Now, when you put things together like this, if you just put them together like that, they're going to fall apart in the toaster oven. So you're going to use a tool. I have this tool right now because I forgot my tools at work today. So I am going to improvise with something that I just have in my house, which is a little bit of stick that I carved into the right shape. So I'm going to kind of, see, I'm kind of like mushing the clay together. The goal is to kind of blend it together to the point where it looks like one solid object. Okay. This clay is a little warm right now because it's like 80 degrees in my house right now because apparently summer's not over. But there we go. It's working a little bit better. So you got a little head right there. Neck's a little bit long, but that's okay because I call it petting, kind of like, because it kind of feels like I'm petting like an animal to move the clay around because it's kind of gentle, you know, pet it like a dog, like, or trying to beat it up or something. All right, let's go ahead and make that torso. It's gonna be a long video, but you can follow along on this video, obviously. Oops, sorry. So kind of pinch it, push, you know, kind of push things in place. And the cool thing about this is you can totally dress this person up. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I had a student last year who made individual vertebrae for his project, and unfortunately this clay it's really not great at doing really delicate things. It's pretty good at doing a lot of good stuff, but to do really delicate stuff in our class, it's going to be really difficult to do. All right, now one of the things you're noticing is that head is kind of flopping around a little bit. It's mostly because we don't have a wire armature. And so when you put it by the toaster oven, you're going to obviously label it with your name, first and last name, please, because guess what? You're not the only person in the world with your first name, usually. And we're going to need to construct, if it's sitting, I'll have a little like thing to help it stay in the right places. Otherwise, if we toast it and it has like its arm outstretched or something without any kind of cardboard support, then that will basically sink to the bottom. I mean, it would like droop and it would look weird. So I'm getting a little bit bigger than I meant to, but that's okay. And let me just show you from the top real quick. So that's where I'm at right now. All right, so let's go ahead and make those hips. If you need, help with this, feel free to ask a friend. Or you can even modify how you're making it. I'm just showing you a generic way to do this. You don't have to do it all separate out like this, but it does look better if you have the proportions correct. Got a little bit messed up right there. One of the good rules of thumb when you're drawing a body is that there are about six and a half heads, so like that much space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm about 5.5 right now, but it's okay. In a typical body, supermodels are usually about 7 heads tall. So you just draw the head over and over again, and that's what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go ahead and do a leg real quick. A leg. Oh, sorry, this is really difficult to show. I kind of roll it to a sausage. There we go. It's a pretty good leg. Oh my goodness, it's way too long. Let's chop a bit of that off. And then I'll make that part into a foot. There we go. All right, well, that looks pretty good. I don't think this is gonna be too tall. I'm gonna do both legs at the same time. I find that trying to do 2 legs separately means that I invariably roll out one thicker than the other or longer than the other. So I kind of make them both at the same time. There we go, good. All right, this is where things start to get a little tricky because he's getting a little bit floppy in here. Oh, let's see, gotta hold that leg on. So some of you guys might be wondering, what do I do if I don't finish my little person or people? I want to do one person at a time, by the way, just so you know. If I don't finish my person in one class period, there will be a box that you can put it in with your class period. And, we'll just keep it nice and safe in there. Just be careful with everyone else's stuff, because if you damage it, then, you're kind of messing up other people's projects. All right, so now these do break sometimes after they've been cooked, and that can be a problem. So if they break, please come and see me. I can glue it back together, kind of make it work out. I have some super glue that I'll use for you guys. I'll use on them. And if you're putting clothes on yours, you don't have to worry about it getting too perfect. If you're not, that's your choice too. I think it looks really great with clothes. There we go. He's looking a little wonky there, but got a good start. Now, that's where we're at right now. All right, let's get those arms on there. I'm going to roll out one long one and then maybe cut it in half. No, actually I'm not. Never mind. You can see I didn't even use all of my clay. I actually have that much left over. I only used about half of what I had originally. You really don't need very much clay for this. All right, let's see if they're, oh, not quite the same length, but let's go ahead and just make that a little smaller, and we'll turn that into a little hand or something later on. All right, let's get these attached onto the shoulder. Ooh, that looks pretty long right now. I'm going to go ahead and take off a little bit more. I'll do the same on the other one. So if you want to make it look more like a skeleton, that is absolutely up to you. I'll go ahead and show you that in just a minute. There we go. You can make that into a little hand just by kind of flattening it like that. Sorry about that. Ran out of space on my iPad. We have another visitor. This is Calliope right here. Let's go ahead and wrap this guy up though. Alright, so I took off a little bit of the last arm. I'll take a little bit off here. Scooch this over a little bit. And make that into a little hand. And get that shoulder all put on there. Alright. I don't want to take too much more time from your day. So I'm going to go ahead and just do some decorating on this. Now, if you choose to make this look like a skeleton, that is totally up to you. You do not have to. Okay? I think it looks best when it does. It kind of goes with the theme with it, but that is your prerogative. So, we've got this little guy here. I'm going to do some decoration on him, or her, depending on what you want to make. The skeletons usually look about the same with different people, but usually the hips are a little bit bigger and mature, like adult women. Not always though. Each person's a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and do some detail work right now. So if you're making it look like a skeleton, you can do some eyes. Poke a pencil in there. Pretty good eye. If you don't use a mechanical pencil, you won't get that weird like ridge line. Kind of. There we go. It's a bit better. See what I'm doing is I'm poking it in and then turning it around. And then to get that weird ridge line out of there, I'm just kind of going around a circle a little bit further out. Okay? Be real careful where your hands are, because you can make dents in your person. So if you want to do skeleton, nose kind of looks like a triangle. There will be some clay tools at school that you can use. I'm going to go ahead, I don't have my proper tools right now, but to do the teeth, if you're doing a skeleton, you just kind of, it's not the best. I have better tools at school, unfortunately. You can kind of see how it looks like skeleton teeth. And if you want to keep your skeleton, like if you want clothing, but like, you know, you want the clothes to be like a dress that's open and you want to show ribs, what you can do is just make some impressions here. Okay, and that's all, again, up to you. You don't have to do it that way. That is your choice. So you've got a pretty decent looking person right now. It's not the best person ever, but you know, it'll work. So after that, what you're going to do is you're going to put it onto a piece of paper, which I'm going to just demo right now. Scooch this little guy over. This piece of paper is going to be in front of the toaster oven, and you are going to write your name. So I'm going to write my first name and my last name. That way, I can put it into the right box. Okay? If I don't have your first and last name, I might not know where it goes, and I might not be able to put it away for you.